So I'm curious about like the mistakes that you've seen companies make, especially some of the ones that have become unicorns and maybe have fallen from grace.
Yeah.
What are some big mistakes you've seen?
There's a bunch. So I would. So one thing that was really interesting again about Y Combinator, my experience at Y Combinator in particular gave me a really broad view of startups at the earliest stages. Like I worked with something like hundreds of companies while I was at YC, and I think YC had a particularly just unique set of data on what mistakes do companies make that prevent them even getting off the ground, because that's kind of the prime place that we invested in, right? And I'd say if you dial it right back, if we start with just like the earlier stages, the number one mistake startups make is picking the wrong person to work with, like picking the wrong co-founders. So every single Y Combinator batch, when I was there, and I think still today, there is always some number of startups that don't even make it to demo day because of co-founder conflict. And I think really early on, who you choose to work with, just the single most important determinant of your success. And I've sort of thought about this a bunch, and I think there's really two mistakes you can make. One is picking someone to work with who you're not values aligned with. And I think values aligned at this stage, what that really means is, being blunt about it, like just what do you want out of the startup, right? Like some people start a company because they're hoping within 2 to 3 years they can sell it and make enough money to retire. Some people start a company because they applied to 10 different companies and they all got rejected and they've literally got nothing else to do. Some people start a company because they just want to be able to choose their own technology stack and build whatever they want. And so I think if you start a company with someone that you're just not values aligned with, that's always going to cause friction, and it's just unlikely you're going to fix that. And then the second is working with someone you don't respect. And this one sounds kind of obvious, but it's really easy to work with someone you like but don't respect. And that's a really common thing we'd see at YC, is two friends start a company, they think it's going to be great because they've been best friends forever, but it turns out that one of them doesn't actually think the other is a great engineer, and the other doesn't actually think the other is a great salesperson, and those kinds of dynamics are hard to fix.
So for TripleByte, how did you go about screening your co-founders? Did you go on long walks, play Parcheesi?
Deep conversations about our souls. I had the benefit with starting TripleByte that I'd known my co-founders for about 10 years. So it all traces back to moving out to go through Y Combinator in 2007. So Armand and Guillaume, who are my two co-founders, I'd met them first because they were early engineers at Justin.tv. And so Justin Khan was here earlier and he started Justin.tv. Justin.tv was in the same Y Combinator batch as my first startup in 2007. So I'd known Justin and his co-founders, and got to meet Armand and Guillaume when they kind of joined because I'd spent a lot of time at their office. I then got to know them better because they went through Y Combinator as a startup with SocialCam, which I think initially I was actually invested in too. And so they were, so I'd spent time with them doing office hours. Their co-founder back then, Michael Seibel, who's now a partner at Y Combinator, was a close friend of mine. So we just known each other for quite a while. And so I knew, at a baseline, I knew these are not crazy people. 2, I knew that they're both very smart. And 3, I knew that I liked spending time with them. And I knew that they had skills that were very complementary to mine. So it felt like a good fit all around, and that turned out to be the case.